This is J. Krishnamurti's first discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1981.
What should we talk about? Go on. Could we talk about what it is to be serious? Any other suggestions?
Could we talk about what are we being educated for? What does education mean?
What are we being educated for? That's the second one. Another?
The other day we saw on the video you said there's no such thing as thinking for yourself. And I don't know what that you mean by that exactly.
No such thing as thinking for yourself?
Yes, you said that on the video.
That sounds rather odd. I hope I didn't say that. Anything else? Should we take up your question? What are we being educated for? Why are we being educated? Should we go into that? Shall we talk about all that? And then, will you join in a discussion afterwards? Yes? I believe you did that with Mrs. Jayaka when she talked about myths. So please do the same with me too. Why do you think you are being educated? Whether that education be poor or good, or A-level and O-level, degrees, going to universities and so on, what is it that human beings are educated? For what? This is happening throughout the world. In America, in India, and probably, of course, in Russia, China, everywhere. So I think it's a very good question to ask. And what do you think about it? Why are you being educated? Taking subjects like mathematics, biology, physics, history, economics, and so on, so on. Why are you being educated in all these subjects, or in some of those subjects? To get a job? To have a career? Not become a saleswoman or a carpenter? Why? Is it just to earn a livelihood in a very, very crowded world? I was told when we were in India, for any one job there are about 3,000 to 5,000 people or more. They advertised for a cook, and the applicants were PhDs, MAs, and BAs, and all the rest of it. Is that what's going to happen? carve yourself a place either as a professor in a college or in the business world, or get married quickly to a rich man, or find somebody who will help you, support you. Many people are doing that. So, why are we being educated? What does that word mean? Not the root meaning of the word. I'm not talking about that. What is the indication of that? What is the implications of that word? To cultivate the brain, right? The whole of the brain. That I would consider being really educated. Would you agree to that? The whole of the brain. Not one part of it which is crowded with knowledge of a particular subject, whether it's mathematics or economics or philosophy or science or biology, which only apparently cultivates only one part of it, one part of the brain, specialized. And can we, in this place, which is what is intended for, cultivate the whole man, woman, the whole being, the whole nature of man? That is, not only merely get some subject, academic subject, but also go into the whole structure of man, psychologically, emotionally, intellectually, his affections, his reactions, his beliefs, his struggles, his conflicts, his sexuality, and so on. To understand all that, the entirety of human life, of which we are, each one of us, to cultivate all that, to understand all that, to go into all that very, very deeply. I should think that is a real education of a human mind. That is what was and is the intention, as far as I'm concerned, why Brockwood exists. To be sensitively aware of the world, with all the horrible things that are going on there, and also sensitively to be aware of what's going on in our minds, our feelings, our anxieties, uncertainties, passing examinations, fear, the whole of it. That not only cultivates the intellect, but also cultivates perception, intelligence, a sense of wholeness, of existence. Is this what you want? If this is what you want, as students, as people living, this will help to meet the world. The world is, you know what the world is, don't you? What the world is becoming. Tremendously overpopulated. There is tremendous violence, terrorism, ugly governments, corrupt. The threat of war. We were talking the other day, that gentleman was here, an Indian from India, who's worked for a number of years at the highest, probably second highest level in the United Nations, and he was saying there is a real threat of nuclear war. And this is the world. Are we being educated to fit into that world? To become accomplices of this terrible world? You understand my question? Please think about it. Let's think together about it. This is what you're going to face. Conflict between man and woman. Conflict in getting a job. And when you have a job, conflict to keep it. The constant, endless struggle from the moment you're born till you die. You ask what it is to be serious. Serious also means to face this, to understand all this, and find out what your relationship to the world is. This is real education, as far as I'm concerned. If I had a son or a daughter here, that's what I would insist on. Not just having merely good time, which of course is necessary, but to have a mind. A good mind that understands the world as it is, meet it and go transcend it. Is that possible? Is that what you want? Or you're merely concerned with your own pleasures and excitement, which is all right. We're not condemning it. Your own reactions and your own particular little anxieties and so on. Is that what you're concerned with? or that's part of the world. What you are concerned with is what the world is concerned with. They're all self-centered, concerned about themselves. Or you join different sects, become a Catholic, Protestant, and if you are dissatisfied that, you join some other sect, some other community, some other enclosing, limited relationship. So I think it's important to find out for ourselves if we want to be educated rightly. The education which we explained just now, the right kind of education, so that we are a whole human being, not broken up, not divided. It's like, you must have a very good body, good health. But to be totally committed to that for the rest of your life, as most people are, that's another form of insanity. Or study some expert about meditation, that's another form of idiocy. You understand all this? What we are saying? So this goes on all the time in the world. Apparently, reason, sanity, objective perception is disappearing, or probably never existed. Everybody looks from their own particular point of view, from their own particular belief, from their own particular ideals, or their own satisfaction of and pleasure. You understand all this? So, if you want to be educated totally differently, that is, have academic subjects, study them and all the rest of that, but the understanding of this whole human struggle, human conflict, misery, with occasional joy and pleasure and amusement, but the vast structure of human existence is becoming more and more complex. Probably you have read or heard something about computers, right? They can learn chess and beat experts at chess. They can learn because they are being programmed and learn much faster than the human brain. Not only according to what they have been programmed to, but also from what they have been programmed, they learn further. You understand all this? What I'm saying? You? We talked to some experts some time ago. They were saying that we are just beginning of it. That's the beginning of these computers which can really do extraordinary things. Of course, they can't compose music of Beethoven or Mozart, or look at the sky and delight in looking at the sky of an evening. But whatever thought can do, it can do, almost. So we have to see what we human beings are. You understand what I'm saying? If the machines can do what we almost can do, then what are we? It can be programmed to believe in God. You understand? It can be programmed to become a Catholic. Or a Hindu, or a Buddhist, as we are. You understand? I wonder if you understand all this. You are being programmed when you learn any special subject. Which will help you to earn a livelihood. You are being programmed when you say, I am British, or French, or a Hindu, or some label. We have been programmed for centuries, millions of years, to accept fear, put up with sorrow, to accept this endless conflict. So what is it that we are why are we being educated? You understand my question now?
See, Krishnaji?
Let me finish and then we can start the whole game of discussion. Please, I'm not stopping you. We'll all have fun discussing. But first, let us together explore all this, put it out on a map, as it were, and look at it. Look at it. Not I look at it and I tell you, or you look at it and you tell me. Together, let's look at it. Not from your point of view or my point of view, but just look, which is part of intelligence. If you say, I must look from my point of view, you're not looking at that. You're only looking at your point of view. With that point of view, you're looking, which then prevents you from actually looking. So could we together look at this? The world as it is, the national divisions, the racial divisions, political divisions, economic divisions, religious divisions, linguistic differences. The terror that's being spread throughout the world, the dangerous to walk in streets at night, when we were in New York some years ago, probably 5 years ago, the porter said, don't go out for a walk in the park after 4:30 in the evening. If you do, I'll come with you. You understand? face all this. That's the world. Overpopulation. I'm not trying to depress you. I'm not trying to be pessimistic about it. This is so. This is so, whether you like it or not. And is it possible to meet that sanely, rationally, with intelligence, not with cleverness? Not from any particular point of view, personal or impersonal point of view, but look at it and see how how human beings have produced that. We have produced that. No outside agency or God or some mystical person or energy has made that. We have made it. We human beings throughout the world, past generation after generation pass, and the present generation are producing all that. And what is our relationship to it? How are we related to the world, to that actuality that's going on? Do please look at it. Find out what your relationship is to that. Or you, as a human being, as a student, as a young person growing, maturing, what's your relationship to that? And are you, when you ask, what is my relationship to it, are you different from that? Right? You have to ask that question, haven't you? Are you actually different from what the world is now? You can only be different when you are not all that. So, education seems to me, I may be wrong, subject to correction. I'm saying this really seriously. Can I, as a human being, can one, as a human being, either be entirely part of it or partially part of it, or entirely out of it. You understand my question? Wholly be related to it, that means you accept terrorism, you know all that. You are part of that. Say, that's what the world is, I'm like that. Or partially. I'm not a terrorist. I don't know if you will see this. I don't belong to any religion. Or I don't say I'm a Frenchman, Indian, or American, or British. And satisfied with that superficiality of it. Or see if you can be totally free of all that. To be totally free of violence. That means totally be free of fear. Not partially. And Brockwood exists to help, to educate, us to be sensitively aware of this, to be either totally identified with it and therefore do all the things that the world is doing, or partially, one foot there and one foot somewhere else. Or to understand the world, and the world is you, to understand yourself so completely that you are no longer related to all the horrors that are going on. This is education for me. As I said, if I had a son and a daughter here, I would insist, I would demand it. That they be educated to understand the world and to understand themselves, which are part of the world, which are really the world. So in the understanding of studying of oneself is studying not selfishly, not egocentrically, but when one understands oneself, one begins to understand then why the world is in such a chaos. Now, let's discuss.
You said, or you asked us if we were concerned with our own pleasure and excitement and things like that, and then you added that you're not condemning it. But I feel in a way you are condemning it, and if you're not condemning it, maybe I'm condemning it.
I'm not condemning it. I say, have fun, that's all right. Laugh, climb a tree, play football.
But these are all part of the world, you said.
This part, no, is it? A writer came to me in California young chap, and he said, I'm writing a book about revolution. And I said, what kind of revolution? Political, religious, economic, etc. He said, no, I'm just writing a book about revolution. That includes all that. But I'm writing it because I feel so vengeful. And it's great fun to feel vengeful. And that's why I'm writing a book. You understand? Huh? That chap was having fun by being vengeful, right? And he calls that fun. Terrorists call it fun, to throw bombs. Hmm? That's what's happening in Ireland. Children throwing bombs. It's great fun, right? So how do you, as a human being, what is fun to you? Go on. We're discussing this. Let's move together. What is fun to you?
Well, there's many types of fun.
I've explained on boy. Many types of. Each person says, this is my particular fun, to kill somebody.
But it goes from very gross examples to very subtle examples.
Huh?
I mean, like the gross examples. Like
I am giving the
bombs.
gross ones. I'm
But
giving the gross
subtle
ones.
are-
First, they're very subtle forms of fun. Right? Which particular form of fun do you want?
But the point was that whatever it is, whether it's a subtle or it's a gross form of fun, that I mean, I find myself personally, and I imagine others, you tend to condemn it, especially.
I'm not in a position to condemn anything. I'm just observing.
But you.
And I say, this is what's happening in the world. One man kills another for fun or for excitement, for hatred, for jealousy, or sheer boredom. Another man calls fun, I don't know, going to nightclubs. Another man calls fun so many forms of amusement. And the world is becoming, that's what they all want, more and more amusement, right? More and more entertainment. Now, where do you find or draw your line where you say, this is the only fun I need and nothing else? I'm putting it crudely, perhaps you understand what I'm saying. How far does your demand for amusement, pleasure, go? Discuss with me, don't. Come on, sirs, don't. Viens là-bas. Oh, allez-y.
Krishnamurti, excuse me saying so, but I think it's a little difficult to hear you sometimes.
Oh, I'll speak louder.
Why must you draw a line, though? I mean, I don't think that's the question.
I'm not asking you to draw it. Just find out, sir. When I say draw it, I just find out for yourself.
We do draw it.
Huh?
We do draw a line.
Where?
I mean,
Where?
We say we don't throw bombs, but we do
Right.
like
You
that.
you don't throw bombs. You don't terrorize people. You don't kill people.
Right.
And
But then we tease people, or we like to go to the movies or something like that. Right?
all right,
So we do
you're not addicted to the tube,
no.
television. You know.
Right.
So, go on, sir. Explore how deeply we are want to be. We depend on being amused, entertained, religiously, physically, sexually. Find out. Go into it very deeply. That's what I'm asking. What?
Isn't there a proper distinction between innocent fun and
Yes. All right. If you use the word innocence, the word innocence means not. No, it comes from Latin, Italian, so which is not to hurt. Where do you draw? Where are you? How much do you depend, let me put it differently, how much do you depend on being entertained? Depending on somebody to entertain, to feel companionship with somebody. You follow? Dependence. You follow what I'm talking? Huh? How far do you depend? How deeply do you depend? Of course, we depend on the police, postman, milkman, market that sells vegetables, and so on. I'm not talking of that kind of dependency.
I find that entertainment is a quick and easy way to feel a little more real sometimes.
A little more real.
I sense myself a little more when I have fun.
You find through fun more of yourself? I'm just asking.
No, I don't think I find more of myself, but I have more a sensation of being here, like if I play an enjoyable game.
Yes, that's right. So, go on, investigate. Go on, see. All right, let's move away from that subject.
Can I just say, I felt kind of you didn't approach the question I asked you. I mean, you said I'm not condemning it. But that was the question I was asking. I mean, we know, or from listening to you, and from reading your books and things, we know, we think we know. We have a concept of fun being deleterious in certain ways
So what? What are you trying to say? What?
But I'm saying that I feel sometimes, like just now, that you condemn it in a way, or one internalizes it and condemns it in oneself, and maybe that's the problem. But
look, forget what you said in books and so on. This morning I said very carefully, I'm not condemning. I said we are observing what's going on in the world, right? And I said, what is your relationship to that? And are you part of it, or not entirely, or entirely out of it? We are investigating all this. I mean, if I say, don't do this, do that, that would be silly. But if you say, let us together examine this whole thing, human existence, with all the troubles, with all the pain, joy, pleasures, fears, anxieties, desperate loneliness, human beings. Are we being programmed? You follow?
Yes.
Are we? When I say I'm a Hindu, with all my superstitions, blah, blah, I am being programmed by 2,000 years. Not 2,000, 5,000 years.
But we're also programming ourselves when we listen to
Therefore, find out. So go into it. You're not discussing it with me.
All right.
You also raised the question of dependence, which I infer from that the pleasures, the fun, in itself isn't wrong. You don't condemn that. It's the dependence on. Doesn't that answer?
That's right. Go on.
Most of us depend on fun to break routine, really.
What's that?
We depend on fun to break routine. That's one of the things. Because fun breaks the things that you're doing. If it's fun, it's either something you enjoy doing, or it's something that breaks the routine of what you're doing ordinarily. So it creates a kind of... it makes a change.
Now, all right. You enjoy doing something, some particular thing. And if you stop, would you become miserable?
Well, yes.
Huh?
It happens, yes.
Yeah.
I find there are different types of fun. There's pure enjoyment, which doesn't really have any purpose, which can be just about anything.
Yes.
And there's also some other kind of fun, which is probably not to look at certain things that we don't want to see. But it's not really fun because it's a bit cynical, because you know that you're not looking at, so it's just...
Could we discuss dependency? Could we? Huh? What do you say? Could we discuss that? Not highfalutin subjects. How long have we an hour? Do I stop at 1? We want? We have 10 minutes only. Oh la la. Could we discuss that? I'm not going to discuss it. Not discuss with me. Do you depend on anybody? Of course, your father and mother send you here, there's money and so on, you depend on them. Apart from that family relationship and dependence, do you depend on anybody? Don't tell me you depend on policemen, of course. I'm asking you, do you depend on anybody? To hold you up, to encourage you. Say, well, I'm lonely, I run away from it and go on to... You follow? Depending. I depend on my wife. I depend on my husband, uncle, father. This sense of the need to have somebody to support you. Father in heaven, you follow? Do you have in your mind a figure or imagined figure or an image to which you look up to when you are a little bit frightened, when you are lonely, when you feel anxious? At least there is that upon which I can depend. Have you? Look, I'm talking. I don't.
I think, Krishnamurti, because we've been told so many times that that kind of dependence is wrong, if you like. We're very reluctant to admit that we are dependent.
So, but let's brush that kind of thing aside, if you will. Do you depend otherwise on something?
We depend on our teachers for information, for knowledge, and we depend on our teachers to help us when we're in trouble.
Do you actually depend, or you are learning? I'm learning from Mr. Smith, from Steve Smith. And I say, teach me, sir.
But we're talking about psychological dependence.
That's what I'm trying.
Mix it up with.
Yeah, I'm talking about psychological, inward dependence on something. If I'm a scientist, I depend on my knowledge, what I've learned, what I've experimented with. I've written books and all the rest of it. So there's a tremendous need to hold on to what I have and gather more and more and more. 5 minutes more. Is learning dependence? Am I making too serious or too difficult? It's a good point. Find out. I am learning from you something. The importance is to learn. I'm learning. It might be you, it might be somebody else, X, Y, Z. But if I say I depend on X to teach me that, I'm not learning. I'm more concerned on being dependent on somebody.
But so there are two kinds of dependence in that. One is a dependence on a source. If I'm to learn to play the piano, I'm dependent on the piano and music, or whatever it is. But if you use that source as a say, I am more secure because I've got so
That's just it, that's just it.
Mustn't we draw the line between those two dependencies?
That's right.
You learn better for someone who has affection for you.
I'm not, no, yes, you are going on to something else. Affection for you, who respects you, with whom you have a good relationship, and you're friendly, you learn more. But I'm talking, don't you know what I'm talking about psychological inward dependence on something. Whether it's on music, whether it is some kind of exercise that I'm doing that will keep me full. Some kind of psychological inertia that makes me dependent on you.
Or dependent on a challenge?
On
a challenge to get something moving or starting?
That's not a dependence. Would you call that a challenge or dependence?
Well,
I'm challenging you now. I'm challenging you now. Are you depending on my challenge? Or you're challenging yourself? You are questioning, you are doubting, asking, looking, hearing. You follow? If you depend on my challenges, then you become, you know what happens? I become your blasted guru, and that's the end of it. You go to sleep and I go to sleep.
Yes, so you can become dependent on someone else's clarity.
That's right. on someone else's clarity, on someone else's encouragement, someone else saying, "You're a marvelous boy, you are."
But, sir, aren't we approaching it from an ideal first to say that we become dependent? It seems to me most of our lives we are dependent, and in particular in moments of loneliness, we depend on the companionship of friends.
Yes, that's just it.
And that's often very important.
But you never tackle or go into the question why you are lonely, which makes you depend.
Right.
You see what I'm lonely, frightened of that loneliness. I depend on my friend, my wife, to escape from that, right? And then I cling to the escape. I'm attached to the escape. Then that brings further complications. If I'm attached to the person through whom I'm escaping, then I have to hold that person. I have to cling to him. I become jealous, anxious that you follow all the consequences of that. I'm just asking, I'll stop now, 1 o'clock. Are you aware of all this? Are you aware of your own dependence, your own reactions? Not condemn it, not say it's right or wrong. Be sensitively aware of all this. Isn't that also part of education? If you neglect that and merely concern about learning subjects, you just be like... We generally become mediocre people, unfortunately.
Sir?
The bell has rung.
So can I ask in the beginning when you were talking about education, you said that it is to cultivate the mind, to be sensitively aware of all these things which you were pointing out. And you've also said that insight or intelligence cannot be cultivated. So what is the relationship between cultivating the mind to be aware of all these things and getting intelligence to meet these things? Because intelligence,
I
you
use
say,
the
can't
word
be.
cultivate in the sense to observe what is happening there and here, right? And not to choose. I like that, you understand? I don't like that, but I'll keep what is pleasurable, what is more fun, what is more exciting. You know, I hold on to that. And inwardly too, I hold on. Now, this attachment, I'm using that word for the moment, this attachment to a particular aspect of life, outwardly and inwardly, is non-intelligence. Right? But if I see the nature of attachment and be sensitively aware of all this, outwardly and inwardly, intelligence is beginning to operate. Sorry, 5 minutes past 1. Shall we stop now? Wait, what? Do you want to go on? Or your tummy is calling?
we going to go on a little?
Yeah. Go on.
Sir, a few moments ago you were talking about a challenge, and I noticed that in myself this challenge, it turns into conflict.
Ah, I understand. Right, right. It's a good question. There are several things implied in it. Why do you need a challenge? Right? And when there is a challenge, how do you meet it? Why does it create conflict? Conflict comes, either you meet it partially, you understand? Meet it intellectually, verbally, emotionally, which is partial. And therefore, out of that comes conflict. You understand? Anything you meet partially must create conflict.
But I am...
Let's first see the point, right? Look, I need challenge. Why? Because first of all, I'm asleep. Right? I'm partially dreaming. You follow? Or I'm stuck in a groove. Somebody comes along and shakes me out of it. That's a challenge. And I refuse to be shaken out of it. Because I'm used to that. Then conflict begins. You follow? If I'm a Catholic or whatever it is, and you challenge my belief, either I say I won't listen to you, or I listen partially. You understand? I begin to question my own belief, my own, etc. That's very disturbing. So I get, there is conflict. But if I say, look, you've asked me why do I believe in that? And we are helping each other to explore. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. We are together exploring into my belief or your belief. There is no conflict. We are looking. We are examining. But if I say I must not have a belief, or what is wrong with my belief, I'll be... You understand what?
Yes, and very often you find out that you are attached to something. There's some kind of attachment behind this conflict. And you go and judge yourself, or you repress, and you just keep on playing this game eternally.
Yes. Why do you have conflict? Why does challenge, any form of questioning, any form of challenge, any doubt, why should it create conflict? Examine that for a moment.
There's no apparent reason.
Oh, yes, there is. Find out. Go into it, old boy. Don't stop there. All right. I believe what? I have no beliefs, but suppose I believe in, what would you like? Huh? I believe in communism. I don't, but I mean, oh no, that's too silly. I believe, do help me out, will you? In ghosts. I believe a certain deity exists. Huh? Right? I believe in that very strongly. I have put all my cards, eggs in that basket. I believe in that very, very strongly. You come along and challenge me. What happens? Either I listen to you, or I say, no, sorry, you don't know anything about all that. I shut you off. But if I listen to you, to your question, say, why do you believe in that? What happens to me? I have believed in that particular thing for the last 60 years. You come along and shake me. I don't like it. Right? I've got into the habit, into a rut, into a groove that says, safe, I'm safe there. Right? You come and shake me. I don't like to be shaken. This has given me security, pleasure, a sense of well-being. Right? But if you say, look, I'm not doubting what, I'm not questioning, let's examine that. If I'm willing to examine, go into it, perceive the truth of it or the falseness of it, there is no conflict. It's only when I resist there is conflict. You understand? So you understood? And most of us refuse, resist. The other day, a man came up to me and he said after one of the talks here, he said, you're a beautiful old man, but you're stuck in a groove. I said, all right. So I went up to my room and I said, am I? I went into it pretty thoroughly. You follow? There was no conflict. If I am, I want to find out. I don't want to be in a groove. It's silly to be in a groove. I may be. So I invite criticism. I invite challenge. You follow? But which does not mean I'm in conflict. Its conflict exists only when man says to me, you're stuck in a groove, and you say, I'm not. Then the battle begins. You follow?
It is not as simple as you make it. Because the question of finding out, a time comes when a man says, how long one must I keep finding out?
No.
He does. The man
so
says this.
You learn
because finding must bring some reality.
Yeah, you learn then very instantly whether it's false or true.
No, but then once finding out...
I'm using a phrase like that. Skip the words. You challenge me about what? Yes, I've said truth is a pathless land, right? There is no path to truth. Neither Christian path, Hindu path, no path. And you say, what nonsense. Right?
I say, I don't understand this. I don't
No, you not only you don't understand, you say, what nonsense. There is a path to truth. And I say, how can it be? Because truth is not a fixed point. If it was a fixed point, then they could have a dozen, 100 million paths to it. But if truth is a thing that's living, moving, it is not living, moving, it's something vital. You follow what I'm saying? Oh no, you're not.
I don't know anything about truth. Do you?
I don't know anything. No, that's not the point, old boy.
Your point is that you don't have to go back and examine all that all over again.
All over again. Of course not.
But we're doing it. We keep doing it. Because we don't have a way of examining.
So which means, I don't know. which means to be highly attentive, right? Sensitively watching what is false and what is true. Instantly you can perceive it. Not say, well, I'll examine it, I'll think about it, I will explore it, all that stuff. Better. Say, you people haven't discussed at home.
So if you say you...
Have a dialogue. You know so much of that? Let's have it.
So if you say one must perceive it instantly, then why does one need to go to one's room and find out?
Because there are other people talking to me all the time around the tent. That's only a way of speaking. Is that enough? Right? Let's stop.